Hey, I'm the teen investor, Tucker Cross, whatever you want to call me. I don't remember what my old intro was. There's no point for such a long intro, but, whatever. Let's just get right into the video. Let's not waste any time. I'm also recording this late, so, that's not important. But let's get right into the video here. So we are going to be doing another uranium stock update, looking at price per pound and DCF performance, well, their valuations, I should say. Since the last time I did this was pretty much at the spot peak in about mid-September. So, of course, a lot of the prices have changed significantly since then. So let's see how a lot of these stocks still hold up. And, of course, lots of these companies I did back, in August when they were at, half the price they were now. So it's good to get an update, see how their valuations still look at these elevated prices, see, hey, should we still be diving into these companies, or is it a bit late on the uranium play? Of course, I think you know my opinion on that, if it's too late or not. But, let's keep on moving. So, here we go. We have Denison Mines, of course, the largest one I've looked at personally. Of course, there's some other larger ones like Cameco and NextGen that I haven't got a chance to look at. I want to in the future, though. I'm still working on lots of your guys' requests and whatnot. That's why this is a bonus weekend upload. But, when we get down to UEC, then it's about 1.1 billion. We drop into the $500 million range with Fission, Uranium, Global Atomic, and Boss Energy, down to the $300 million range with Bannerman Energy and Lotus Resources. Then in the $200 million range, we see UEX and GoviEx, and then as well as Peninsula, and then in the $100 million range, we see Forsys Metals. To keep it simple, I have all their American tickers up here just for you to see, and so most of these companies, of course, because their primary exchange is the Toronto or Australian Stock Exchange, in the US, they are only over-the-counter, except for Denison and UEC here. We can also see, though, that I believe Fission has said this, that they are working on getting a New York Stock Exchange listing, so that should help bring them a whole lot of extra volume, which should be very good, considering their smaller market, since I believe UEC is the smallest of the New York Stock Exchange uranium juniors, if I remember correctly, though I could be wrong there. Someone fact check me on that in the description, please. But let's keep moving. Only 15% of you who are watching are subscribed, so of course, if you're currently watching, make sure to subscribe if you aren't already. It's completely free, takes a second out of your day, and it helps the channel a lot. So let's keep moving. I'm not going to preach on about that. I noticed I've been staring into the camera a lot this video. Hopefully it doesn't look too creepy, me staring into your soul. But when we look at price per pound here, we see in first place is GoviEx. They currently have a price per pound of $1.06. And so that's still really good. It was better, of course, when it was 40 cents about 2-3 months ago. But, you get what you get now with these elevated prices. And so also looking really good is Forsys Metals and Bannerman Energy. Below that $1.50 or in that $1.50 range, I really like to see when we're talking price per pound. And so that's probably also because I'm biased. That's about kind of what the best ones were looking when I first started looking at these stocks. But we can now, going down the list, UEX and Global Atomic still look fairly alright. Peninsula looks okay. And Lotus Resources, Fission, Boss, Denison, UEC look very pricey in the price per pound department, especially Denison and UEC. So let's move on to what their valuations look like with discounted free cash flow. So all the usual here. This is going to be using 50% capex and opex inflation alongside a 10% discount rate, and this is going to be assuming $80 spot price. And of course, I recommend checking out all these individual videos because there's lots of info not being shown here that I bring up in those videos that can definitely make a big difference to your purchasing decision. Of course, though, this is not financial advice. Alongside watching those videos in this video, you should still do your own research, decide if it's right for you, because these stocks can be very volatile. Now, in first place here, we have Peninsula Energy with seeing about a double in upside here. Same thing with Fission Uranium. Denison Mines, we see about a 70% upside, 34% upside with Forsys Metals, and a 17% upside with Global Atomic. And the rest of these look to be overvalued, especially UEC, Bannerman, and UEX. Now, some things to note here. Like I said, there's lots of other things in these videos that show these companies in different lights. For example, if Fission, even if everything goes perfectly, they won't come online till the 2030s, so they'll probably completely miss out on this bull market despite what their fair value says, since that's taking the cash flows from what their mine will be, but chances are that mine's never going to happen, at least not in the relatively near future. And then someone like UEX, who's at the bottom here, has dozens of projects and only a single PEA, which I can make a DCF out of. So, you should always go do more research than this. So, because these numbers aren't entirely indicative of the company. This doesn't mean Boss or Bannerman or Lotus or GoviEx or UEC or UEX are bad companies necessarily. This just means that, they could be a little bit pricey, but of course, they're obviously going to overshoot that if uranium goes parabolic. And of course, again, there's a good chance that even Peninsula will probably surpass that price target I have set for it right there. But, let's keep moving into their total score. So in first place, we have Forsys Metals. This is just taking their points combining the price per pound and the DCF. So first place is going to get a full 10 points. 11th place is going to get no points, and the rest of that kind of falls how you imagine. And so in first place, we have for at least, well, that's, so for here, GoviEx, they get 10 points because they got rank 1 here is what I mean by that. And then UEC gets no points here because they were rank 11. That's what I mean by that. So we see Forsys in first place with 16 points, just behind our Peninsula Energy and GoviEx tied. But we can see I decided to give Peninsula the upper hand due to the fact they did better in the discounted free cash flow valuation, which is more important than price per pound, which GoviEx did better in. Now, for Fission and Global Atomic, we have another tie here, though a little bit behind. We can see, though, that because Fission did better in the DCF, I have them placed ahead here, but this doesn't necessarily mean which company I prefer. I personally prefer Global Atomic to Fission, but, of course, do your own research. That's my opinion. So, there is also, of course, some bias in here, because I own some of these companies, I don't own some others. And so, now, in the next tie, we have Denison and Bannerman a little bit further behind. Denison did better than the DCF, which is more important than price per pound. So, once again, that is ahead of Bannerman, which didn't do as good as Denison in the DCF. Now, fairly simple from there, we see Lotus Resources, followed by UEX, then Boss Energy, and UEC at the bottom. Now, so this is, all the new valuations, how some of these uranium companies stack up against each other. Of course, recommend, like I've said a billion times, do your own research. I think I'm rambling now. This is going to be the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Make sure to subscribe like I said before.